now we want to arm the ship, but before we do that, there's just a little issue that we need to clear up. If I just run the game, you should see. I've also added a little routine that gives the enemies a bit of a tilt, just for excitement. Right, so at this position you notice that the enemy ship stalls, and we get a message at the bottom of the screen. It's saying that the object of type game objects has been destroyed, but you're still trying to access it. So we need to look at the enemy code again, which I have here. And this is the problem. When we update it, we're looking at this target, which is our ship, but after we've destroyed the ship, then it returns null. So we need to isolate this section, and we'll put there if target not equals null. Okay, and then if we go down here, this is the last mention of target, so I'm going to close that if section there. That automatically indents the whole lot. So if we've destroyed the target, this automatically gets ignored, and we just go on to this, which keeps moving the ship forward without retargeting it. Right, I mentioned this little bit. I've put a tilt in here, so it's just a private vector 3 called tilt, and I've just rotated it randomly -30 to +30 degrees around the z-axis. That's vector 3.forward, and now I've just added it on here, so we move it forwards. Oh yes, so up here we tilt it. After the ship has been destroyed, it'll carry on anyway. So let's just try that. So we'll save it. So that should get rid of the error message. Let's check. And now the enemy ship carries on, and we don't get an error message. That's good. So now we've got that little error issue sorted out, and it's time to arm the ship. And this is going to be very much like arming the enemy, and so we're going to have a spawn point here as well. So I'm going to create an empty child of the defender. I'm going to call this one spawn point. And I'm going to put it a little way in front of the ship. One of the things I don't want is for the missile to hit our ship immediately, because it'll destroy it. We want to make sure it's clear of the ship, so I'll put it about 5. And then it'll head on towards the enemy. Right, now we need to edit the ship control, which I have open here. So I'll need to add on another public reference to a game object, which is going to be our missile prefab. I also need the transform component of the spawn point. Right. So if we go down to the update function, and we'll check for another key. I think we'll use the left mouse button, or alternatively the left control button. So if I get this button. Now, we don't want to be able to hold the mouse button down. We want to keep clicking the thing. So I've got to get button down rather than just get button. This is fire 1. So remember, that's the left mouse button, or the left control key on your keyboard. Now, another disadvantage of having the shield up is you can't fire through the shield. So I'm going to put in another condition here. So not shielded. So those are the two conditions. And those are met. And we should be able to create a missile. So we'll call this new missile. And then we're going to use the instantiate just as we did before with the enemy ship. I'm going to put that at the spawn point dot position, and the rotation is going to be the spawn point rotation. I'm going to give this missile a lifetime of 2 seconds again, so I'm going to add in a destroy. After 2 seconds. So if it doesn't do its job within 2 seconds, that's tough. But that should send the missile on its way. Let's just try that. So we'll save it. And we'll need to add in the new objects. There we are. So the missile is the prefab, and the spawn point is this one. So we should be able to fire missiles back at the ship now, at the enemy. So I'm firing missiles at the enemy. They're hitting, but to no effect. And why? Because we haven't actually been able to tell the missile to hit the enemy. And here we have a little problem, because when this game's up and running, we're going to have lots of enemies. They're going to be instantiated or spawned, and they'll be instantiated with different names like enemy clone 1, enemy clone 2. So we need to be able to identify an enemy ship, and we can't do it through the name as we did. So look here, as we did in the trigger enter with the name my ship. What we'll do is we'll add a tag to the enemy. So we have a look at the tags. Nothing terribly useful there, so I'll add a new tag. Click the plus, and we're going to say this is enemy. Right, so we've got a tag called enemy now, and I can apply that tag to the enemy ship. Right, let's go back to the code, and we'll add another if statement here. Now instead of name, I'm just going to use the tag equals. And it's going to be very much like this, except we're going to destroy the dot game object. Okay, so that's the enemy ship, and we create a big bang again. So it's going to be very much like these lines. In fact, they're so much like it. I'm just going to copy those lines. And paste them in here. Right. Just closing that up. Let's save it and see if we can get our own back on the ship. Yes, direct hit. Right, so what we've got is a space duel here. It's hardly a game, and there are no points, there are no prizes and nothing like that, and only one enemy to destroy. So the next thing to do is to create the game controller. We'll do that next time.